Here's Neil. He's back.
No, this is my front. It's similar to my back, but not quite as good looking.
He's back.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the THC Show. I'm your host, Neil Magnuson, and this is a show where we talk about truth, hope, and change that we call THC. On the show today, we'll have 8 out of 10 Glenn from Cannabis.ca. Join us, as always, for the 420 session and beyond. And we'll, of course, be visiting the Healing Wave CSPRV and talking a little bit about some of the out-of-town stuff, because this is a very special day, actually. It's a very special show. Since we started doing the show, 4.5 years ago now, it's been pretty much all dedicated to the CSP, and the CSP had started a few years before that. In fact, the reason this is a special show today is because this marks 7 years since I started the CSP back in February of 2017. There's reason to celebrate and there's reason to be outraged. It's a real dichotomy of feelings going on here. We celebrated the first 5 years of the CSP with cake and people and celebrations and all the rest of it. But what we really have been looking for, the goal of the CSP and the Healing Wave and the story that this show has been charting for all of this time is the pursuit of a low barrier access community cannabis store where people can come in and purchase cannabis of all different potencies and all different types without all the barriers that are there, like the high prices and the need for ID and all the rest of it. The legal marketplace in Canada is nothing short of a hostile takeover of the cannabis industry that for many, many decades here was vibrant and thriving and gaining momentum to the point where the government had to, by polls, decide to support the legalization of cannabis. However, that legalization turned out to be highly restrictive and designed for the rich to get richer, and only for the people that have reasonable resources and beyond to be able to afford it. It excludes the people that most need to have legal cannabis. They're still stuck in the illegal marketplace at the hands and the whims of those people who are not regulated, not controlled, and in some cases are not good for people to be purchasing from. It's sad more than happy is how I feel about 7 years of the CSP. It's amazing that we've been able to continue doing what we're doing, but it shouldn't be amazing. It should be a no-brainer that people should have access to cannabis through the government in ways that make sense for everybody and not huge dollars for a bunch of corporate elite bastards. Not only that, you can't even trust the cannabis that's coming from many of the legal stores. I'm sure they have some good stuff. I've got friends that are in the industry. I'm sure they're producing decent cannabis. I'm told by one of my close friends who's a producer of cannabis that he doesn't irradiate the crop. But that doesn't speak for all the producers, that's for damn sure. And there's a lot of suspicion of the quality of the cannabis that's coming through the government stores. The cost is the most prohibitive thing. To keep the prices up where they were and beyond prohibition is outrageous and so harmful. The reason the CSP started was in response to a public health emergency of overdose deaths and overdoses in general happening in the poisoned drug supply that continues on. We're in our 8th year now. Unabated, other than what we're doing here. And what we're doing here is being completely ignored. And that's why I'm sad and outraged by all of this. For 7 years, we've been providing what people really need in the way of cannabis by providing low-cost and no-cost cannabis. Cannabis should not be so expensive. It can be expensive. It can be grown expensively. There's connoisseur cannabis growers that have many decades of experience that deserve to be compensated. Some of those growers have some of the best equipment on the market to try to produce that cannabis. Indoors, of course. They spend a lot of money to make it look nice, to get it trimmed, money on fertilizers and pesticides and dehumidifiers and lights and all kinds of things. For most of those growers' experience, they were illegal, and they were facing harsh penalties, including the losses of their homes and in many cases even their families, for producing cannabis. The government really needs to stop what they're doing now. Enough already. Over 2,500 deaths due to the overdose crisis in British Columbia just last year. The coroner, health minister, minister of mental health and addiction get up and flap their gums and give lip service to all that they're doing to try to help the situation. Strange it's not helping. Strange it continues to escalate. And people continue to die in increasing numbers. But not around here, they don't. Not on the downtown east side of Vancouver. Strange and funny how they comment about that in some of their press releases, about where you would think that the majority of the deaths would be isn't really where they are. But they don't acknowledge the reason for that. The main reason for that is because we've been on the ground on the front lines with the CSP, and for the last 3.5 years, the Healing Wave, providing what is the reasonable access that the courts have been demanding of the government through all of these different court challenges, which the government basically ignores, tweaks things a little bit, comes up with something that they say is new, but it's not new. The Cannabis Act is nothing new. Same basic regulations that were there during the MMAR and all those other incarnations of the government's program to allow people to have access. And none of it has been reasonable. We have quite a population here on the downtown east side, numbering in the hundreds, that come and access through us on a regular basis. Hundreds of those people have written letters for us. Many of them are going to be in court for us coming up. And I guess that's the most sad and outrageous part, is that we're going to have to go to court for this. I believe strongly we will win in court, because we have all of the evidence to support what we're doing, and the government really has nothing at all. But they're spending upwards of $1 million to try to punish us and prevent us from continuing to save lives. I couldn't be more outraged and disheartened by all of that. I love what we do here. I love how the people respond to what we do. So many thankful people, grateful, on a daily basis, letting us know that they really appreciate what we're doing here. While the government continues to spend money and build their case so that they can try to prevent what we're doing through the courts. It's disgusting. The media is involved because they're not covering what we're doing. Strange, isn't it? Such a huge story. A public health emergency. A group of citizens putting together an initiative to save lives and being successful at it for 7 years. Yet still, we are basically ignored by the mainstream media. And I've been ignored by all of these people that I've been writing letters to. I've written letters to everybody I can think of. People I previously mentioned, including the Premier, Mental Health and Addictions Minister, both federally and provincially, Health Canada, members of Parliament, the local government, the provincial government. They don't write me back. I never hear back from any of them. I write long, powerful letters articulating pretty well, I think, the situation here, and they don't even write me back. I believe the reason for that is because they don't want a paper trail. They don't want to acknowledge that they ever got those emails. They want to be able to say, oh no, I never saw that one. Or those ones. Because I've written more than one email to all of these people. It's very disheartening. We're stuck operating out of an RV. We just went through the winter. Mind you, in Vancouver it was only a 3-day winter. But it was cold. Minus 14 degrees that one day. We're okay in the RV because, we have heaters and it's cozy in there a little bit. But for all those poor people that have to line up outside the window of the RV to get what they need, why can't they have a storefront? Like the people that buy alcohol, or the people that buy other drugs in drugstores, or just about anything else that people want. They get to have the dignity, the safety, and the comfort of walking into a store during the harsh winters, the rainy spring and fall, the hot summers. Not for people that are addicted to opiates, not for people that are poor and struggling. Those people are treated like third-class citizens. And we see it every day. So, we soldier on. We keep providing our services 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, cheap cannabis and free cannabis. The CSP has 270 members that get 420 milligrams every 4 days for free. The CSP also puts out free joints and free edibles to the tune of hundreds a day to people that couldn't be members because we had to cap the membership at some point. We're limited in our capacity here. So we'll see what happens. We have our preliminary hearings coming up at the end of March. 3 days where we get to go and present to a judge our side of it, and the Crown will present their side of it. We'll see what the judge says. Hopefully he agrees that we can go forward and have the real hearing in July, and we can maybe really get a ruling that will help for once, that will compel the government to allow for low barrier access to the marketplace for producers. That they'll take away all those restrictions and fees and taxes that boost the price at every turn to keep it up beyond what poor people can afford, and beyond what sick people can afford who need to use it daily and they need quality cannabis. We'll see what the courts have to say. I'm hopeful. After all, it's the middle name of the show. Truth, hope, and change. I'm hopeful that if we tell the truth, we can get the change that we're looking for. Time will tell. It's tiring. It's stressful. We don't know, what's next. Every day we're antsy about what might or might not happen. It's no way to live, nor should we have to. In reality, what should be happening is a government by the people should be for the people, and they should be encouraging and supplementing the use of cannabis in our society. And they should be apologizing for 100 years of making it difficult for people to get cannabis and subjecting them to all the harms of the illegal marketplace. Well, it's 4:19. So much more I could say, but I probably said enough. I hope that you will help us as best you can by writing letters and sending emails and making phone calls and doing whatever you can to have your voice added to the chorus of people that would support what we're doing, that desperately want and need low barrier access to community cannabis stores and producers that can bring their product to market without all the restrictions and fees and taxes that keep the price so high. This is the biggest fight that there is in the cannabis community. This is the fight that's always been there. Not much has changed. What changed is that there was a new gang in town. The big boys, the billionaires, the cartels, the cartel, the Trudeau cartel. It makes it still nearly impossible for a large percentage of the population to access cannabis reasonably. I think that brings us to 4:20, so come on in, Glenn.
Hello there, Sir Magnuson.
Good to see you again, sir. If you're here, it must be 4:20.
It must be 4:20. I even brought my own ashtray.
Nice. You don't like mine? Well, mine's over there somewhere.
Well, no, we didn't have one, so
Right?
I forgot.
Actually, that is mine, too.
Is it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got the Neil mark on it.
You
yeah.
just commandeered it for a little
I
bit.
did. I scooped it on you.
So now they say 69% of the cannabis consumers in Canada are accessing through the legal system.
Yeah.
Even though
Even though
62
6.2.
6.2
2%.
they're
less.
down. The legal
Yeah.
store, thank you. The legal stores are down in sales 6.2%. And I got to tell you, the 31% that they say aren't accessing through the legal cannabis stores, they're the ones that can't afford it and need it the most.
And we're the diehards, and we know what's better.
And all of us who
Yeah.
are OGs and understand that not only can you not trust the government cannabis, you're better off trusting your friends, as we always have, but that they don't want to support a government system that doesn't allow for access for the people that need it the most. That's what we would fight for.
Yeah. Everybody's saying happy 420. Happy 420, everybody.
Happy 420.
Oh, you know what? I didn't move the camera. They can't even see me.
Oh, good. Move the camera.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've done this, so. There we go.
All right.
All right, now we can see me.
Oh, that was bad.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Oh, you're not even there.
There we go. 27 pesticides on speed and on weed. Yeah, I know, eh? There's a lot more than 27, we think.
There's some things to talk about today.
Yep.
But I think what I need to address right off the top is what's been going on with me
Okay.
and why it is that I've had to cancel a few shows. As much as I'm into telling the truth, and as much as I did hurt myself shoveling snow, that's not really what's going on. I'm not willing to tell you what's going on at this point. I was hoping, other than that I've got some health issues. I was hoping that I could resolve those health issues before I made it public, and we could have a celebration basically of having solved those health issues. But I'm not there yet, and where I'm at is that I'm struggling to be able to maintain a show for a couple hours and or even do a show many times. And like I say, I don't really want to disclose what's going on, and what I really don't want is a whole bunch of people contacting me and telling me they're sorry for me and offering me all kinds of advice. I have a super good support team around me.
You do.
And if you have some really good advice, you could drop me a little line somewhere. But I can't have my phone going off all the time with messages and phone calls.
Especially because you've been resting a lot too.
I need my body needs to rest a lot.
Yep.
And we'll give it our best shot, and we'll see where that goes. And I will be telling the truth about what's going on and updating people as we move forward. But today will also be a shorter show, and I hope that you can provide me with the peace and positivity that is very important when you're trying to battle.
To you right now, prayers, hugs, and speedy recovery already. So
that's what's needed is positivity.
Yeah.
And some peace, and so life is short, even if you live to be 100.
Yeah.
No, it's short either way. Although maybe if you lived 10 years of being tortured, it might seem like a very long time.
Life. Yes, exactly.
But Father Time doesn't leave anybody out of his grasp. And even if you live to be 100, for most people, the last 25 or 30 years of that are not a lot of fun.
No.
Old age is not for sissies. That's for damn sure. My grandma had a poster that said that in her kitchen, and
old age is not for sissies.
And I get to find out that's true.
That's it. Oh, that was very nice of you, Nicole. She said, if you ever need a care package, don't be silly. Share.
I don't.
No.
I really don't.
Very nice offer of you. Thank you very much.
I have access to all the very best things in the world, cannabis-wise and otherwise. I have resources and ways
friends
to deal with things, and I have so many friends. Thanks, Clint.
Yeah, my buddy.
And, either way, I'll be fine. And that's that for that. So I didn't want to say anything.
No,
but
I was directed to post what I was supposed to be posting.
Yeah.
But
I told him to lie for me.
Yeah. And if it ever gets to the point, I will sit in your chair. You can write out stuff that you would like me to talk about, and I can tell people why you're still here and stuff. So I'm sure we can work out something together. We've been able to do it for 4.5 years, so I'm sure we'll get stuff worked out.
We'll figure out what to do, but I suspect there will be adjustments coming up in the near future. I've got court dates coming up, and I'll be damned.
You want to be for that, yeah.
I'll be damned if I don't meet those court dates, Like, and I got hockey to watch, too.
Yeah, heal fast, we need you, they're saying. Thank you. That was from Barb.
I understand all that. I love all you people.
I need them, too.
I know that a lot of people, like me as well. So I thank you all for that. I feel all that, and that helps me for sure. But don't worry, just keep on keeping on fighting the good fight. We've lost an awful lot of our warriors over the last little while, and we need a lot more people to step forward and carry the torch on forward. Speaking of people carrying the torch, Dana Larson is a true warrior for a very, very long time. That guy has had my respect for 20 or more years. He used to bring me to tears with his editorials in cannabis culture. And he continues to prove every day that he's in it for the right reasons, and he's not about to quit till the job is done. And we owe him a great debt for sure. So he's got a hearing coming up on March 5th.
Before yours?
Before ours, which is in the end of March. And that'll be about his Coca Cafe and his mushroom dispensary. And I'm sure he's accepting letters of support, especially if you've accessed those products, not necessarily from him, but in general, and found success with them in your life. That those kind of stories, I think, are valuable to him. And it's always good to share those stories to help make the world a better place anyway. So you can get involved, send him a letter, an email, or something that shows how we need to have access to the psychedelics, to the mushrooms, and even the coca, not in the form of cocaine necessarily, but no drugs should be demonized and made illegal. Those that are more dangerous and addictive just need to be regulated properly. And regulation means that you do your best to protect people in the ways that they can be protected. And once you get to a certain point where the black market takes over and there's no regulation, no warnings, no safety, anything, that's what the government needs to avoid. And that is what the government definitely creates by having outright prohibition of these things. So please support Dana. Dana's also recently released a documentary about the Drug User Liberation Front. and the quest to have a safe supply of those drugs for people and proper regulations that make sense. And I highly recommend you watch that as well.
Oh, Nicole says she's just trying microdosing. It really works for a lot of people, Nicole.
Oh, Nicole, you got to know that I'm...
Hi, Rosie.
You got to know that I've got a lot of really good and wise people around me, and all of those things are in place. And, we'll talk about it more in future shows.
Yeah.
But I don't want to belabor the point, and I don't want to get into details. And like I said, I really don't want to be inundated with a whole bunch of people feeling sorry for me.
No, I think she's talking about herself, microdosing.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Nicole anyway.
Yeah,
I'm talking about in general that, what I don't want is a bunch of people feeling sorry for me and telling me, oh my God, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to win this health issue. And I'll be here to tell you about it after that happens, I'm sure. So just, say a little prayer, hold positive thoughts in your head, and carry on having as much fun as you can, because that is for sure the most important thing in life, never more than now for me in general or in specifics.
Yeah.
So what else is there? Speaking of having fun.
Thank you, Rosie says she's rooting for you.
That's so sorry. Everybody is, I'm sure. Well, not everybody. I probably have some enemies out there, but maybe the federal government's hoping that I'm not able to be in court.
Maybe.
But I'm pretty determined that I will be there, and I will gather my stuff together to be able to speak properly to these things. So again, I really don't want to belabor the point. I've already said way more than I thought I was going to say or that I want to say. But I thought it was important that I do tell a little bit of the truth at this point anyway. Running out of excuses, and things are becoming a little more evident. So there you go. The Canucks.
Oh, and then Rosie said I got a nice haircut.
Which one?
I don't know.
I didn't notice.
I got a bunch of them.
Oh, this one here you go. Yeah. All right. Okay. Laughter is always the best medicine. So.
Yeah, the Canucks. Yeah, somebody, Nicole says, oh, it looks like he's got to go. He must be Canadian. He's got to go to hockey or something.
Well, of all the times in my life, over 55 years, I don't know how long.
You're going to be at a game next week.
Thank you very much for that.
Thursday.
Yes, I am.
On your birthday, you will be at a game watching the Detroit Red Wings take on the Canucks, the first place Canucks. Yes.
That's what's
awesome.
going to happen.
Right.
And right now, the Canucks are still in first place. Canucks are still in first place overall in the league.
Yep.
They're tied with Boston, but they have one more win, which would be the deciding factor to start with. They play at 4 o'clock today. The Bruins play at 7 o'clock today. So we'll see what happens after today.
Yeah, we'll see.
But
we're playing Carolina today, right?
We are, yeah.
We're on a rough road trip, and then when we go to the game, that's their first game back.
Okay.
So they're on the road until we go on next Thursday. So
it'll be fun for sure.
Yeah.
Always fun. The All-Star weekend was fun.
Yeah.
Mostly it's boring and cheesy and lame, but it was fun. Well, and the Leafs can take some pride in having basically won the All-Star. I mean, it wasn't quite like that.
No,
but they had their 4 players that they got on the All-Star team all on the same team.
Yeah.
And the Canucks got the 5 players that were originally picked plus the coach on another team. Now, of course, they got 6 players because they traded for Elias Lindholm, and he was going to the All-Star game, and he got to wear his Canucks colors, but he got to play for another team.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I thought the skills competition was good.
It was good, eh?
And brought out the best in those guys to some degree. I mean, the game was still lame because there's very little defense, and they don't hit like they would be hitting.
No, because they don't want to hurt somebody's
100%.
Career or their season, right? So, and they got $1 million.
Yeah, and especially in the final, they skated hard. They were really going for it.
Yeah.
But like I say, there was no hitting going on, and what's a hockey game without hitting, really?
Yeah.
So this is fun, and this is by far the best year that the Canucks have ever had already. We'll see how it ends up if it's actually the best year ever. Mm-hmm. But for now, I've never had more fun as a Canucks fan.
Oh, I know.
I've been loving every minute of it.
Excellent to go there and watch. This is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
Because we're going to be first place, or second, anyways.
And you know how I feel about fun.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm going to have a dab.
You're going to have a dab, are you? And we're going to get you clearance to bring some boost in.
No.
Yes.
No. I'm okay.
All right. What are you dabbing?
I'm dabbing pure CBD.
Oh, okay.
And I'm adding to it some THC.
All right.
Because the CBD is activated and enhanced by THC. If you don't know that, you need to know that. CBD on its own has great healing power, but not as good a healing power as it does when it's mixed with THC and the whole plant, entourage of things. So I'm turning into a dabber here, and I'm going to dab a little bit of this stuff. Oh, I guess I can't.
What?
Right, if I'm going to be a dabber, I have to do it right?
Yeah, no, you can cold start it.
I have to heat this first, right?
No, you want to do a cold start because you don't want to do hot dabs because of your throat. So you're doing it right. Yes, this is called a cold start dab.
All right.
So you put it in there.
So I got a piece of that there.
Yeah, put that in there.
How about this, folks?
Nice.
CBD diamonds.
Okay, look at this. I'm just going to throw that in there because it was on the edge. There we go. Let's see.
That was a gift from
I can't have
one of my
CBD
friends
alone.
that helps us out here.
Oh, wow.
What's that?
Nicole can't have CBD. She's allergic to it.
Oh.
Wow.
I see.
All right, so now I'm going to take some of this out.
I'll take a little bit of this. I don't know what this is.
Or even just a piece of shatter or something will go in there.
Mm-hmm.
We've got.
I'll make it work.
Do you have your carb cap?
Yeah, upstairs.
It's upstairs. Not a good spot for your carb cap when you want to do a dab. Okay, maybe we can use this.
I will use this.
Yeah. You might use that.
No, I wouldn't.
Well, I'm just carb capping it, right?
I wouldn't.
Okay, torch.
All right. Is that the button? Is this the button? How do you do
I can do that part for you. You just get ready to dab it. Okay? All right. So, okay. Hold on a minute. Not yet. Not too
Yeah, this little dabber you don't want to put too close to your face. When do I know?
Well,
it'll start to vaporize.
Yeah, okay. Try it now. Here.
Hey, look at that.
There you go. Do it again.
Sure. One more time.
Yep. Hold on. Warm it up again. And then you should be able to do a couple pulls off of this because it's warmed up. All right? There you go. That's all you need is just a little bit because you're just a virgin dabber. All right, there you go.
A virgin dabber.
There you go, the virgin dabber.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a strange allergy, isn't it? Yeah. Nose dabs are always good. I love my nose dabs. You see me do it, Michael. It's not my pipe. I can't do a nose dab with it. But yeah, that's a strange allergy, isn't it?
There are people that are allergic to cannabis for
She
sure.
can have the THC part, just not the CBD.
Not the CBD.
Yeah, I think that's what she says. I can't have CBD alone. I'm actually allergic to whatever they make CBD with. Only form it's the only form that she can take it in. I love those nose dabs. Me too. And then when you blow the smoke out of your mouth, it really shows you that you did the nose dab. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well.
All right. So now.
So that's our 420 session.
Now you got to clean this. Okay.
Right now.
Well, it's always best to clean it. And if you're doing cold start dabs, you don't want to clean it then do your dab because your pipe is hot.
Right.
Right. So let's just clean it. So all you're gonna do is just turn it red hot. We'll show people on here. And if we had some cold water, we could do it that way too. I could drop it in cold water, but no, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
Well, I
haven't got a glove to pick it up with.
I do have my water.
But if your bowl is actually quartz, then it will not break. If it's glass, then it'll break.
I see. Well, it won't fit in there anyway.
No, we need like a little Tupperware bowl or something.
So, really what I need to talk about is the CSP. CSP, what can I say? 7 years ago we started this because I knew, and some of my friends knew, some of my friends who own dispensaries knew, and they supported me in my venture, that the high dose edibles, and I don't, I only call them high dose because the government's got low dose, Really, they're just edibles, and they come in varying potencies, and the potency that works for you is different than the potency that works for other people, and that's just the way it is. Everybody's different, and as Nicole was pointing out, for her, CBD doesn't work. For other people, 5 milligrams, one little gummy bear gets them through an hour. And that even goes for some people that we've helped here at the CSP that are in wheelchairs. Good job.
Nice and clean.
Nice and clean.
There you go. Now you're getting ready to do your next dab.
For other people, they can't even find their upper limit. They can take thousands of milligrams at a time, and it doesn't still quite help completely with their pain or what they're dealing with. It's an individual journey for sure. And I say that because the government can't regulate your particular use of cannabinoids.
Yeah.
It's none of their flipping business in the first place.
It's natural food.
The only business they would have in it is to make sure that you have easy access to whatever potency of cannabinoids you want for yourself. As for saying, oh, well, you can't use more than this much, what do they know? They don't know you. They don't know nothing about anybody. So they should get the hell out of that side of the business. The only business they should be in to do with cannabis, like I said, is making sure that people have real easy, reasonable access. No taxes on cannabis. That would be ridiculous. It is ridiculous to put taxes on cannabis. What the hell for? And what's happening to all that money? It's a hell of a lot of money. The federal government takes $1 a gram off of all the cannabis that becomes available in Canada. That's a hell of a lot of money.
$3 by the time it gets to market.
Right?
Yep.
There is no need for that at all. Taxes on a commodity that people use are there if there are problems, cost-associated problems with using whatever that commodity is. If alcohol is what you want, and the statistics show that when the population has easy access to alcohol, there are some associated problems. Because there's associated problems doesn't mean people can't have access to alcohol. Whose right is that to tell anybody?
Yeah. Well, they tried. That's what prohibition.
They tried that too, and that didn't work. That worked out really good, didn't it? Worked out pretty good for Al Capone.
They got away with it with cannabis longer than they did alcohol, right?
A long time.
Right? Because we've been 100 years, right? And prohibition, I think, lasted, just maybe a couple of years?
No, 13 years.
13 years? Yeah.
For cannabis, it's been 100 years.
100 years.
And what happened after the government tried to prevent anybody from getting any access to cannabis? It went underground. It got put into the hands of unscrupulous gangs. Not all of it, but some of it. Tons of unforeseen consequences to their prohibition. Young people, vulnerable people, women being subject to people providing them with cannabis for sexual favors, or trying to bump them up to harder stuff, or giving them things that aren't. It goes on and on and on. The unintended consequences of prohibition is a long, long list. And there's no need for any of that. It never should have happened. If we really had public servants here in North America, public servants tasked with doing due diligence on the decisions that they make, if they were really working on behalf of the public and mostly, as they should, on behalf of the vulnerable public, then cannabis would have been encouraged and supplemented and made easily available to those people especially, but to everybody. There's no need to tax cannabis. Cannabis in our society saves our society money. It offsets the use of that sometimes dangerous alcohol. It offsets the use of those almost all the time dangerous opioids. It offsets the use of the commercial tobacco that is the result of most of the hospitalizations here in Canada. It provides people with better sleep, so they're better workers, more likely to show up for work, and there's less work days missed. It is such a benefit to almost everybody that uses it that the government has no business taxing it. If they weren't involved in trying to prohibit it or over-restrict it, there would be no costs involved. There would be similar costs involved to whatever it takes for a farmer to bring peas and carrots and potatoes to the marketplace. The government doesn't need to be in that business. The government wants to impose some reasonable regulations on the concentrates at the retail level. Well, that makes sense, because regulations almost always are just education. So for the government to say, okay, if you're going to provide these higher potencies of cannabis concentrates from your retail outlet, they have to come with a little bit of a warning about using heavy machinery and the potential for greening out. That's all. No cost to them. It doesn't cost much to make an edict like that, to make a regulation like that. The cost is borne by the retailers to put some sort of a warning that fits with what the government's asking for. Meanwhile, our society captures a whole bunch of money and saves a whole lot of money on what would otherwise have to be spent on all the problems that come with those alternative substances. One need look no farther than the opioid crisis. Holy smokes, the cost of that is incredible.
2,511 people died last year.
That's the biggest cost.
Was it 25,000?
No, 2,500 in British Columbia in 1 year of this 7-year plus tragedy that's going on here.
Yep.
That's the real heavy cost.
7 people
is the loss of human life
in the province.
Probably the second biggest cost would be the cost of human health, because people that overdose are never the same. Their brains are damaged. They're not okay forever from that point on. They can become a burden to our healthcare system. They can become a burden to their families. Huge cost involved in just the overdose without the death. But the financial costs. You know those naloxone kits that they hand out so freely?
Yeah.
Well, you taxpayers are all paying for those.
Yeah.
I heard it's $1,400 a kit.
Wow.
For the chemical that's in there. Super, super expensive.
Wow. And you know all those green boxes that they gave out for the COVID tests? They apparently don't work. And they spent all that money on those green boxes when they could have put the money on naloxone kits for the Vancouver police people to be able to carry them, because they don't even do that here. You know?
Police don't want to carry them.
They don't want to?
They don't want to carry them.
Oh, why? Because they have to save people's lives? Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
Yep. They have to get out of their cars. They have to get out of their cars and go deal with a really nasty situation. Well, it is not fun when you're trying to bring somebody back to life.
I'd rather be bringing somebody back to life than shooting them with my gun.
Well, that's you, and that's why you're not a cop.
Yeah, but even still, when they have to do that, right? They have to deal with the PTSD part, the traumatic part about it. If you're just sticking a needle in somebody and saving their life, that's not as bad as shooting somebody or having to shoot someone.
Yeah.
Right? So you would figure that...
Well, if the person dies, they're no longer going to be a problem for the police. If they survive, now they're probably going to be a bigger problem than they ever were, because, they're brain damaged and angry.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
It's a terrible situation.
It is.
And, we'll see what we can do about that. There's not much else.
Nope.
There's not much else. So we're going to go outside for just a couple minutes.
All right, I'm going to go do my producer work.
I want to wish Chris Backer
a happy birthday.
Despite his arguing with me about it, Chris is an amazing and awesome human being. I've known Chris for a long time.
I'll second that.
And when I met him in Halifax there, he'd been going through years of fighting with Health Canada about burns that he had on him because he went back in to save his animals when his house was on fire. That's a pretty amazing human being right there.
Yeah.
What he has done in the last 5 years with the CSP in Halifax is nothing short of heroic.
And he's out there in the snowstorms and everything.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Atlantic Canada gets a lot worse weather.
They're getting it right now.
They get more than 3 days in winter.
They
Did you
got
know
some
that?
major snow happening right now. In
Major
Nova Scotia.
snow.
Yeah. So.
But there he was again,
He's
as
out there.
always, out there on the Monday, setting up for people who were waiting, hiding in the doorways from the cold, hoping that he would show up there.
Yeah. And it's his birthday today, and if you go on Chris Backer's page, or is it the CSP East Coast or East Coast CSP? There's a fundraiser for the CSP for his birthday, so that if you would like to do something nice for the CSP or for Chris, that's all he's asking for is some donations to his CSP on the East Coast.
So please do that.
Yeah, please do that. It's
not just
$5, right? $5 goes a long way. You know that with these charities, and if you give them cash, they can do more with cash than they can do sometimes with donations. So. Yes.
And not just for Chris's birthday.
No.
They need support all year round. They need some dedicated donors. He's kept it going for 5 years thanks to some great people helping him. But, always more is needed. Always more could be done. Wouldn't it be nice to get government funding to be able to do this stuff?
Oh, yes. Right across Canada.
So I'm going to give this a go. Chris, I don't know if you're watching. I hope you are.
Are you going to do it?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chris. Happy birthday to you.
There we go. All right. Yeah.
A great
and
human
many
being.
More.
And many more.
And many more.
And many more.
All right. So I'm going to go out here and you can talk for a few minutes and we'll go outside.
All right. What do I have to talk about?
I don't know.
Just that, it's been quite the journey over 7 years of the CSP. I can think of the snow that we were doing in ourselves. I can think about the extreme heat. I can think about all those poor people with their mobility or issues lining up for hours at a time waiting for us. I can think about all the volunteers and all the donators that have helped to make it happen for all of this time. It's been truly incredible. It doesn't work without the donators. The volunteers make it happen too. Thank you to everybody that has helped us, that helps us, and that will help us in the future. It's been an incredible story, one that I'm sure will eventually be covered by media or historians, one of the two. And
We have more luck with the historians.
yeah, we'll probably have more luck with the historians than the media, but we'll see. We'll see if the media is going to cover the cases in court and how that all works out. We'll see how all this happens, but it's been a wonderful, amazing, like I say, the fight with the government. But as for, what we've accomplished here, it's incredible. And what's being accomplished in Halifax for the last 5 years, now in Surrey for over a year, in Newton, in Langley, and now we have a chapter starting up in Ottawa. This is incredible. It should be what should happen, but the government should be supporting this, not just individuals deciding to do it with all of the problems and stresses that there are about trying to do this particular this job or project or whatever you want to call it. Without government support and even allowance, especially in other places other than Vancouver, it's daunting to say the least. So thank you to all of those other groups and people out there that are doing CSP stuff and helping out. It warms my heart and brings tears to my eyes.
Steve Beaming just says he's working on this month's donation and we'll have it out this weekend for you.
Thank you so much. And like I say, to everybody else, it doesn't work without the donators, and thank you all from the bottom of my heart. So that's the CSP. The other entity that now works in a collaboration with the CSP is the Healing Wave. And the Healing Wave was a concept that I came up with to have a for-profit dispensary work in a collaboration with the CSP to provide the supports that are needed for that. And so that's what we did. Well, also because the city government here said that they would support us in a storefront, so we went and rented one. And then they turned around and said, oh, we'll only support you once the federal government does. And the federal government hasn't supported us in over 3.5 years since we put our application in. In fact, like I said, they're willing to spend upwards of $1 million to try to punish us and prevent us from doing what we're doing. So we started this for sale, for-profit dispensary called the Healing Wave so that we could pay the rent and pay the staff and do all the things that have to be done and buy the RV and pay the insurance, because if we can't operate out of a storefront, well, damn it, we're not going to not operate. And setting up tents and tables on the sidewalk isn't very realistic. So we operate out of an RV. We've been operating out of an RV for 3 years and, let's see, November, December, January, February, 3 years and 3 months. So what happened with that is that what we learned that we didn't realize prior to doing that was that people out there that are addicted to these opioids and don't want to be identified need a low barrier, discreet access store that they can go to and get what they need. And so that's why we learned that the sale of cannabis at low barrier is also extremely crucial in dealing with this overdose crisis. So that is our fight. That's mostly our fight with Health Canada. Although even with our CSP, we're violating Cannabis Act regulations in what we're doing here by quite a bit. But the sale of cannabis is what they're worried about because it threatens the cartel, of course. Trudeau's not going to get as much of a cut if they allow for low barrier costs.
No, if they allow you to do it, they have to allow everybody to do it.
And not everybody would be buying 5 grams for $5. Many of the rich people that are buying from the cannabis stores right now would still be buying from Trudeau's cannabis stores at high prices because there's bragging rights involved and there's some satisfaction personally involved in having cannabis that cost a lot of money. Of course, the rest of us normal people have some satisfaction in getting really good cannabis at really good prices, but that's not the same mindset as the rich people for sure. So there'll always be plenty of market share for those people that want to pay high prices. But for those people that can't and don't want to pay them, there is no logical reason at all that a farmer can't grow some cannabis and bring it to the marketplace, have the retailers decide whether it's good or not to put out there, and put it out there. We'll see what happens. Let's go outside.
Look, it's daylight. Look at that.
Our sort of weekly weather report in Vancouver is well, now it's light out at this time of day.
Nice.
And it's a little cold for here. And it's a moist cold, I'm told. So, it's equivalent to a little more than this cold, if you had it back east or something. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. There's not a cloud in the sky.
It's nice. I was just showing there, yeah. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. There's the RV.
It's a little bit cold for old people.
There's the can of Uber.
For old people that aren't from back east, it's a little bit cold.
Yeah.
So I got a new sign. This is a sign I had to make today.
Oh, this one, yes.
I'll let you read it for a moment.
Oh, it's good on there, yeah. There you go. So people are asking you for more?
It has become quite a thing in this neighborhood where so many people think that they can just get a free joint every day, whether they can afford to buy one for $1 or not.
Oh, okay.
And so we get a lot of people coming here every day. They just want their free joint, like as if they're entitled to it.
Okay.
And what we want to impress upon people is that what this service is for people that truly can't afford $1 for a joint or $2 for an edible. And we want to make sure that those people get it when they need it. And with so many people taking a free joint when they could afford it, it really taxes our ability to be able to continue putting out as much as we need to for the neighborhood. So we'll try the sign and see if that makes a difference. Howdy. Hello. Doing all right? Doing all right? That works. Go.
Hey, it's not too bad in here.
Not too bad, just a little bad. Yeah.
So, how's it going in here, boys?
Fabiola.
Raviola? That's how it's going.
Fabiola.
Oh, Fabiola.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Never better.
And Adam and Dexter today.
Yes,
Hey.
green team.
Yeah. It's been just another day of helping people, another day of feeling like you're living a really special life when you're out here addressing a public health emergency, and when the government doesn't support you. It really gives you a sense of doing the right thing, because before somebody sits in these chairs and helps people out there, like Dexter here, just a fellow from the mainstream that I met a couple of years ago now.
The mainstream.
That came, to see me at my shop here because he was a casual user of cannabis, and before he left, he said, "Hey, do you ever need anybody to help out?" And I said, "Well, your timing is really good right now, actually." And so he came on board, and he's been an amazing staff member. But, for him, it wasn't easy to decide what to do, whether to work here or not. We've had other people that came here that worked a few times at the window, and just a couple, and then said, "Yeah, I'm afraid I might lose my daughter if I work here. Like, I can't handle getting arrested." So it's a challenge, and you have to think about it. So all the people that work here, they're people that have thought about it. They understand that what they're doing is breaking Canadian law. But they do it because it's the right thing to do. And that's the conclusion that you come to when you contemplate this particular job, is that this is the right thing to do. I'm a good Canadian too. I'm an ethical human being. I believe in upholding just and valid laws.
I love sound.
But I'm willing to break a law if it's a bad law. And I think that's a pretty righteous thing to do as well. And so we're all proud of ourselves here. We all know we're doing the right thing. The feedback we get from the people that matter, the people that we're helping, tells us every day that this is the right thing to do. The feedback that we get from the federal government and from the police and the other authorities is, "Oh, you should just obey the law." And yeah, it doesn't matter if people are going to die because of it. It doesn't matter if the public health emergency rages on. The law is the law, and you should just obey the law.
Yeah, no, that's a lot to
And
go up there. Like
I don't stand by that mindset at all. What I stand by is the mindset of living a good life, being your best person, doing what is the right thing to do at every juncture of a decision.
So
Don't be greedy,
don't lose any of that
be
sugar.
selfish, live from a place of love in your heart, and live your best life.
Really nice, though.
So I hope you're doing that. I hope that you're following along with what's going on here. I hope that you're going to be a part of this journey of ours to try to make the world a better place, and whatever you can do, be it just a casual conversation with somebody you meet in a grocery store, or making sure all your friends understand how wrong your situation is, or writing a letter to people of influence, or sending an email, or making a phone call, or going down to Parliament buildings and seeking out people that need to understand that they're supposed to represent us. And when I say us, I mean those of us amongst us that are most vulnerable.
Yeah, really nice.
That should be the real role of government. I don't need much government in my life.
Are you looking for any specific?
I'm okay. For those people that aren't okay, that's where we need public service to be looking after them on behalf of all of us. That's what I want my tax dollars to be doing. And that's what we should do. So, have a great day. Have a great tomorrow. Do what you can when you can at every opportunity to take the high road and do the right thing. But the most important thing always, and it'll never change, because that's the way life is. Life is far too serious to take too serious. Make sure you're having as much fun as you can. We'll see you next week.